Welcome to a special breaking edition of our tennis coverage. Ladies and gentlemen, tennis fans from all around the globe, gather around because the tennis gods have just delivered a storyline so poetic, so emotionally charged, and so unexpectedly brilliant that you simply could not script it any better. We are standing on the precipice of the 2026 French Open, the legendary clay courts of Roland Garros in Paris, a venue that has historically been the ultimate theater for drama, heartbreak, and triumph. And today, the breaking news coming out of the tournament draw has sent absolute shockwaves through the tennis community. It is a headline that has everyone talking, and it involves two of the brightest, most exhilarating young stars in the sport today. In an astonishing twist of fate, the pride of the Philippines, 20-year-old Alexandra Eala, has drawn none other than her doubles partner, her confidant, and her best friend on the tour, the 18-year-old American sensation Iva Jovic, in the very first round of French Open main draw. Let that sink in for a moment. Out of all the players in the 128-woman field, out of all the possible matchups, the random sorting of the draw has pitted two close friends against each other right out of the gate. It is a phenomenal piece of news because it guarantees that one of these incredibly talented young women will secure a coveted spot in the second round, but also carries a heavy emotional toll, knowing that one friend must inevitably eliminate the other on the grandest stage of the clay court season. The buzz around the grounds in Paris is absolutely electric right now. Alexandra Eala, who is currently ranked number 38 in the world, was waiting anxiously to see where her name would land. On the other side of the equation, the teenage phenom Iva Jovic, who has skyrocketed to world number 17 after a blistering start to the year, was equally anticipating her path. When their names appeared next to each other on the bracket, it was a moment of sheer surprise, a mixture of disbelief and immediate realization of the monumental task ahead. This is not just any first-round match. This is a collision of two rising forces in the women's game, two players who intimately know every single facet of each other's arsenal. They have stood shoulder to shoulder on the same side of the net, battling opponents together, communicating with just a glance and celebrating shared victories. Now, they must stare each other down from opposite ends of court. Philippe Chatrier, Suzanne Lenglen, or whichever iconic show court is lucky enough to host this blockbuster encounter. The stakes are astronomically high. For Alex Eala, this is a chance at redemption and a massive opportunity to prove her evolution on the dirt, following her main draw debut last year. For Iva Jovic, it is about validating her top 20 ranking and continuing her explosive momentum at the Grand Slam level. The narrative is simply compelling. It is the ultimate test of professionalism versus personal attachment, of tactical execution against someone who knows your playbook inside and out. We're going to break down every single angle of this sensational matchup, from their shared history to the tactical nuances of playing a best friend on clay, and what this means for the future of the WTA Tour. So buckle up, because this is going to be an incredibly deep dive into one of the most fascinating first-round clashes in recent Grand Slam history. As we transition into the deeper analysis of this extraordinary matchup, we first have to look at the individual journeys that have brought Alexandra Eala and Iva Jovic to this exact moment in time. Let us begin with Alex Eala. To understand the magnitude of this match for Alex, you have to understand the weight of expectation she has carried on her shoulders for years. Hailing from the Philippines, a country with massive, deeply passionate sports fan base, but historically little representation in the upper echelons of professional tennis, Eala has been a trailblazer in the truest sense of the word. Moving to the Rafa Nadal Academy in Spain at a very young age, she immersed herself in the culture of hard work, grit, and specifically, the nuances of clay court tennis. Growing up under the watchful eye of the ultimate king of clay's academy, she learned how to construct points, how to slide into her shots, and how to utilize heavy topspin to push her opponents behind the baseline. Last year, in 2025, Alex Eala made her highly anticipated Grand Slam main draw debut right here at Roland Garros. It was a momentous occasion, a historic milestone for Philippine tennis, but the result was a tough pill to swallow. She faced Emiliana Arango and suffered a first-round defeat, falling 0-6, 6-2, 3-6 in a match that highlighted both her immense potential and the steep learning curve of Grand Slam tennis. But true champions are defined not by their defeats, but by how they respond to them. And Alex Eala's response over the past 12 months has been nothing short of spectacular. She has diligently climbed the WTA rankings, refining her serve, adding more bite to her forehand, and developing a court presence that commands respect. Currently sitting at a career-high ranking of 38 in the world, she enters this year's French Open not just as a participant happy to be there, but as a legitimate threat. She is 20 years old now, physically stronger, mentally more robust, and fully prepared to make a deep run. On the other side of the net stands Iva Jovic, the American prodigy who has taken the tennis world by absolute storm. At just 18 years of age, Jovic is already ranked number 17 in the world. Think about that for a second. In an era where the depth of women's tennis is arguably greater than it has ever been, breaking into the top 20 before your 19th birthday requires a generational type of talent. Jovic announced her arrival loudly and clearly earlier this year at the Australian Open, where she made a breathtaking run to the quarterfinals, dismantling seasoned veterans with a brand of fearless, aggressive tennis that left spectators and analysts in awe. Jovic possesses a lethal combination of raw power and remarkable court coverage. Her ground strokes are penetrating, and she has an innate ability to take the ball early, rushing her opponents and robbing them of the most precious commodity in tennis: time. But what makes this first round clash at the French Open so utterly captivating is the deeply intertwined history between Eala and Jovic. They are not just peers, they are highly successful doubles partners. Just a few months ago, they joined forces at the ASB Classic in Auckland, New Zealand. They played with a synergy that usually takes years to develop, communicating flawlessly and supporting each other through high-pressure moments. They marched all the way to the semi-finals of that tournament, proving that their complementary styles make them a formidable duo. They also competed together in the high-stakes environment of the Indian Wells Open, reaching the round of 32. During these tournaments, they practiced together constantly. They warmed up together. They shared meals, shared strategies, and shared the emotional roller coaster that is life on the professional tennis tour. When you spend that much time with another player, especially on the doubles court where communication is paramount, you learn everything about them. You learn their tendencies under pressure. You learn which side they prefer to serve to on a crucial break point. You learn how they react when their first serve percentage drops, or how they handle a heavy, looping ball to their backhand. This mutual encyclopedic knowledge of each other's games adds an incredibly complex layer of psychological warfare to this upcoming match. In a standard match, the first few games are often a feeling-out process, a period where players probe for weaknesses and adjust to the speed and spin of their opponent's ball. But between Alex and Iva, there are no secrets. There is no feeling-out process. They will step onto the red clay knowing exactly what the other is trying to do. For Alex Eala, the tactical imperative will be to utilize her clay court pedigree to disrupt Jovic's rhythm. Jovic thrives on pace. If you feed her a flat, fast ball, she will redirect it with even more venom, painting the lines and hitting you off the court. Eala must avoid getting into a linear, flat-hitting contest. Instead, she needs to channel her training from the Rafa Nadal Academy. She needs to use heavy, looping topspin to push Jovic deep behind the baseline, forcing the young American to hit from uncomfortable positions. By varying the height, depth, and spin of her shots, Eala can prevent Jovic from stepping inside the baseline and taking control of the points. Furthermore, Eala's movement on the clay, her ability to slide gracefully into her defensive shots and transition quickly into offense, will be absolutely critical. Clay is a surface that demands patience and the willingness to hit 3, 4, or 5 extra balls in a rally. Eala must be prepared for a grueling physical battle, using her tactical acumen to open up the court, perhaps utilizing the drop shot to exploit Jovic's deep court positioning. Conversely, for Iva Jovic, the strategy is about imposing her will and not letting the slow surface dictate the terms of engagement. Jovic knows that Eala wants to grind, to construct points methodically. Jovic's goal will be to break that rhythm with sheer, unadulterated aggression. She needs to serve big, go for her targets early in the rally, and look for any short ball to attack and finish the point at the net. The challenge for Jovic is that the red clay of Roland Garros is notorious for neutralizing power. A shot that might be a clean winner on a hard court often comes back on clay, forcing the aggressive player to hit yet another high-risk shot. Jovic must balance her natural attacking instincts with the discipline required on dirt. She cannot afford to get frustrated if her winners keep coming back. She has to remain patient, wait for the right opportunity, and then strike with precision. Because they know each other so well, Jovic will anticipate Eala's patterns, meaning she might look to run around her backhand to unleash her devastating forehand whenever she senses Eala trying to roll a heavy ball cross-court. Beyond the tactical X's and O's, the mental and emotional component of this match cannot be overstated. Playing your best friend on tour is widely considered one of the most uncomfortable experiences a professional tennis player can go through. Tennis is inherently a gladiatorial sport. It requires a certain level of ruthlessness and killer instinct to exploit your opponent's vulnerabilities without mercy. But how do you summon that ruthlessness against someone you deeply care about? How do you pump your fist and scream, "Come on," after a grueling rally when the person hanging their head on the other side of the net is your doubles partner? This is the invisible battle that both women will be fighting out there. It requires a massive compartmentalization of emotions. From the moment they walk out of the tunnel and onto court, the friendship has to be put on pause. For the duration of the match, whether it's a swift straight sets victory or a grueling 3-hour marathon, they have to view each other simply as obstacles to their respective goals. The player who can better manage her emotions, who can block out the personal connection, and focus purely on the yellow fuzzy ball, will have a massive advantage. This match also speaks volumes about the current landscape of women's tennis. We are witnessing an incredible changing of the guard. The fact that a 20-year-old and an 18-year-old are generating this much buzz in a Grand Slam first round is a testament to the immense young talent flooding the tour. Players are maturing faster, physically and mentally. They are fearless, unburdened by the intimidation factor playing at a major. Eala and Jovic represent the future, but they are also very much the present. A victory in this first round is crucial for both. For Eala, advancing past the first round at Roland Garros for the first time will be a massive monkey off her back, a psychological breakthrough that could propel her toward the top 20. If she wins, the draw opens up and she could potentially face names like Emma Navarro or Janice Jen in the subsequent rounds, matches where she would feel confident in her chances. For Jovic, an early exit at a Grand Slam after a brilliant Australian Open run would be a disappointing setback. She wants to prove that her success in Melbourne was not a fluke, and that her aggressive game translates to the grueling European clay. The conditions in Paris will also play a massive role. Depending on whether they play early in the day when the air is heavy and the clay is damp, or in the afternoon sunshine when the court bakes and becomes fast and lively, the dynamics of the match will shift. In damp, slow conditions, Eala's physical endurance and heavy spin will be heavily favored. If it is hot and dry, Jovic's power will be amplified, allowing her to hit through the court much easier. Every single variable, from the weather to the tension strings and their rackets, will matter in a matchup this tight. The sportsbooks and analysts are having a hard time calling this one. While Jovic is ranked higher at 17 compared to Eala's 38, the surface and their intimate knowledge of one another makes this essentially a coin toss. It is a classic matchup of contrasting styles, of power versus finesse, of flat hitting versus heavy spin, wrapped in the emotional drama of a close friendship. As we look toward a conclusion of this incredibly dense and compelling narrative, we have to recognize the beauty of what the French Open draw has given us. This is what sports are fundamentally about. It is about the human element intersecting with athletic brilliance. When Alexandra Eala and Iva Jovic step onto the court in Paris, they will carry the hopes of their respective nations, the weight of their own ambitions, and the complex reality of their friendship. There will undoubtedly be moments of incredible shot-making, fierce rallies, and perhaps moments where the emotional weight of the occasion becomes visible. When the final point is won, when the umpire calls game, set, and match, there will not be the usual cold, formal handshake at the net. There will be an embrace. There will be genuine empathy from the victor and sincere, albeit painful, congratulations from the defeated. This first-round clash is destined to be one of the most talked-about matches of the tournament, regardless of who lifts the trophy 2 weeks from now. It is a story of two young women whose careers are on a magnificent upward trajectory, whose paths have collided in the most spectacular fashion. For the fans of Alex Eala, this is the moment you have been waiting for, to see if her meticulous preparation and clay court expertise can overcome one of the most dangerous young players in the world. For the fans of Iva Jovic, it is a test of her adaptability and mental toughness. We are in for an absolute treat, a tennis masterclass filled with tactical intrigue and emotional depth. We will be watching every single point, analyzing every shift in momentum, and bringing you all the updates from the grounds of Roland Garros. Make sure you do not miss a second of this action. If you found this deep dive insightful, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more comprehensive tennis coverage, and let us know in the comments below. Who do you think will emerge victorious in this battle of best friends, Eala or Jovic? Thank you so much for joining us for this special report, and enjoy the phenomenal tennis ahead.